Hello, friends. Hello, everyone, and welcome to all of you on this series on internal audit. And today we have a very wonderful session on the internal audits and the report writing specifically. And it will be taken by none other than Mr. Swaminathan. And what to say about Swami sir? He is having a wealth of experience in the internal audit and was with the industries, Tata's an internal audit area, and after that also since last about a decades, maybe 7 to 10 years, he is now having exposure on the various large internal audits. So we'll get one of the best exposure and experience, and I'm sure this will be a very, very value added session. So welcome Swaminathan ji, and I'm sure with today's deliberations by you and interactive session at the end of it. We'll keep some 10-15 minutes with the acceptance of the Swami sir, one question answer session also. So Swami sir, thank you for accepting our invitation, and your knowledge will serve the great value added session to all of us. So thank you for accepting the invitation and welcome to you. And we have very young and dynamic moderator, C. Roshni Bhavnani, and then followed by C. Rishu. So thank you, Roshni and Rishu, for accepting this and moderating this session and taking a valuable time from your busy schedule. So welcome all of you. And as every Wednesday, 5 to 7, we are always there to serve the knowledge on this internal audit piece. So keep this your pen and paper ready to jot down a lot of things. The presentation and this video also will be put up on the website, so that in future also, if you have again any question, you can refer to it. So with this, I welcome all of you with my regards and compliments to CA Prakash Sharma, who is the chairman of this board on internal audit, and our secretary, Aarti Bansal, and entire team who is working very hard to serve to all of you. So welcome all of you.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much for your kind words. I take over from here. Let's begin the session. I thank each and every one of you for all the things, all the presents that you have given. I specifically thank Preeti madam for the opportunity that she has given us as the moderator, and to the public who will be gaining a lot of knowledge from the session that Swami sir will be taking ahead now. Aarti madam, I acknowledge your presence and thank you for all these things. Let me just begin the session by introducing Swaminathan sir. He has an experience of 30 plus years. So for me to introduce him in 30 seconds is a challenge for me. However, let me just give it a try. He is majorly the industry lines that he's performed is for independent audit practices. He served in telecom industries, manufacturing industries, and hospitality industries as well. He's associated with a lot of companies like IHCL, Tata Group, etc. He is majorly focused on to internal audit, from the drawing up the annual audit procedures, carrying out the audit plans, conducting regular audit and statutory compliances with a lot of quality review of the audit firms, and ensuring the uniform audit methodologies followed. He also has an experience in process designing and transformation. He's the coordinator for CMS, the compliant management system, to ensure prompt complaint resolution to end customers in the areas of activations, billings, and collections. His other experiences also involve handling commercial activities for data center businesses, and also handling collections and credit controls for telecom operators. He has also handled statutory audit assignments independently, with finalization of account system audits and evaluation of internal controls and procedure. With this brief introduction, I welcome you, sir, and thank you for accepting our invite. The stage is all yours, sir.
Thank you very much, madam. Thank you very much. I'll try to do my best in the allotted time of 1.5 hours, and then I hope this might be of some use to people. So let me start the presentation now. Are you able to see the screen?
Not yet, sir. Uh, Can
Sir,
you
we
just
can
share it
see
again?
you, but screen is not shared, I think.
Correct.
I have already unmuted.
Yes, now we can see.
Okay, like, yeah. See, basically, before at the end, report rating is the last
Sir,
after
do in
all audit.
slideshow mode. Done, sir.
Okay, you
Done,
are
sir.
able to see now clearly.
Yes, sir.
Are you able to see clearly?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
It's
Okay.
clear now.
See, report writing is the last at the end of all audit is for say, for example, what we are doing it for close to few weeks time, 3 weeks to 4 weeks of each assignment. And before I start the presentation, I would like to say the entire PPT which you are going to see in the next 1.5 hours time is written based on my actual experience in the last 30 years, wherever my interaction with all the audit firms and what mistakes we have encountered with everyone, and then how we solve the problem, how we handle the problem, and how we take the problem to the audit committee meeting. Based on everything, it has been summarized so that people, I believe a lot of youngsters are there in this meeting today, so that it might be of some use to everyone. So that is the objective, and I will try to finish the meeting, and then I will try to explain also. I will show some of the presentations also more than the slide, so that it will be of some use to the participants in the form of say how the report should look like and all that. And number one and number two, I will also tell you over after a long time for say about 5 to 10 minutes what exactly, how exactly we need to handle the things in the assignment. So the report writing, I would say before I go on to the report writing, I would say that what is the actual meaning of the internal audit? Over the last 30 years, the definition of the internal audit itself has seen a sea change. Previously, we used to go for all vouching, pick up some vouchers on sample, say 40, 50 cases, and then do the audit. Now, the entire concept is it. Recently, I met some people for an assignment. They say, look, Swami, I want to do the internal audit. I will give you the proposal. But before that, I want to know, I don't want to do, you do the regular audit and all that, because we have people internally to do all that verification, validation, all that. I just want to know, by doing the internal audit, how can I improve my operations by reducing the cost or by increasing the value or by arresting the fraud? This is the first question which is coming up from most of the people from the client side. So this has seen the audit has completely changed in the last at least say 15 years, saying that nobody is interested in the basic audit. People want to have some value addition to the internal audit, and a lot of people have given importance to the internal audit these days, and then they take very serious all the observations report, all that are viewed very seriously by most of the companies. At least personally, I know that some of the corporates are taking it very seriously, because I get even calls from the manager where I have handled the assignment last year, year before last year. That is the importance now. In the nutshell, I will classify the internal audit report as four kinds. One, it is a report of internal audit. Second, it is a final deliverable with significant observations. And it can also be seen as the only tangible outcome of what we have done in the last 3 weeks or 4 weeks time. And this is the reference point for the next year audit. This is the most important point. Whenever you do the follow-up audit in the next year, you always, I would request everyone to refer to the previous year, take notes, and then see that whatever the report has been done in the previous year is not being repeated in the observation. If the same observation is repeating in the current year also, then it is a very serious offense and it has to be taken up very seriously while reporting to the management. And the second slide is what is the objective of the internal audit? The objective of the internal audit is share with the auditee the details of all significant findings based on audit procedures. The second definition is allow the management to understand the issues and take corrective actions in a methodical and comprehensive manner. And the third is provide a sound basis for any assurance being provided by the internal auditor. The overall objective of reporting results is to highlight the effectiveness of internal controls and risk management proposed to enhance the governance with the internal audit chapter. These are all the main three objectives basically for the internal audit. First, it should be auditee should be benefited and you should come across and we should highlight them in two categories, one significant and otherwise relatively less significant observations. And the second one is allow the management to take issues. They have to you have to present in such a way that all critical observations are adhered to and by the management by taking instructions to by giving instructions to the team down the line so that it does and all the issues are addressed, and for which I will also show you some of my presentations on how we have to handle this. IA report continuation. What is a basically IA report? It is basically the dissemination of the results of internal audit and reporting of findings. Whatever you have done in the last 4 weeks of time, you put it in a very cohesive manner to the management, and so that the report can be see when you write the report, it can be in either in the department wise or actually I would prefer the report to be done in a department wise, and each department it should be in a significant manner. When I say significant observation, it should be either a loss of revenue or probably the process loss or other basically things. So I would classify them in that category and then put. And whenever there is any SOP being, if you take large corporates, I'm very sure that most of the companies they have their own internal policy document. So when you do the audit, my request should be to go through the process or SOPs or policies provided by the company and then make notes of it and then start the work based on the scope given to you and based on the process for which the you are doing the areas. Suppose you are doing a production or you are doing HR, you take the relevant SOPs, read all the SOPs from top to bottom. There will be definitely at least about 20-30 SOPs in each business, in each department. So understand each and every point and then make significant points for each SOP and then take samples and do the verification. The reason is that violation of SOP first itself is a very serious matter because the SOP has been written to arrest the issues, and if you don't follow that SOP then you have to highlight it in the form of the report so that next time it is followed and then it is not getting repetitive. This is the first requirement. And the second requirement is reporting of internal resource generally at two stages. See, previously we do audit only once in a year or now I would recommend that audit should be done on a continuous basis at least thrice in a year. The first half year and the third quarter and the fourth quarter. Some of the ways what you can do is some people, if there is a very large organization, you may not be able to have the time to do the entire area of all the areas every time. So in that cases you can take some of the areas in quarter one and cover it for full the last time what you have done the audit to this period, and then take it other areas in the third quarter and the fourth quarter. By doing so, you may not be able to cover all the areas all the time in the financial year, but some of the transactions might pertain to the previous year also. Suppose you are doing the audit in the month of say October, and the last audit was done say last year, and you have to do the audit from last October to this October. Although you are a auditor for April to October, but it should be done before from at least for the last 12 months from the previous year to the current month. It will make sense. Otherwise, doing the audit only for 6 months does not make any sense, and you may not do justice to the work. So that is why either you do the audit on a continuous basis, or you take department wise and do the audit for the period wise. That will be better. This can be done either way. There is no harm in it. And the third one is the internal audit is a report shall be issued within a reasonable time. What happens every time when the audit is completed, we take a lot of time to release the report for whatever many reasons. The client is the auditee is not free for discussion, all that. Ideally, my if you ask my opinion, audit, suppose you are completing the audit say in the middle of probably September, take at least 1 week after that, after completing the field test everything, draft your observation, d- get time from the auditee, discuss your observations, make changes wherever you required as per the post meeting with the auditee, and then make a final report, issue the report then and there, and close the file. By the time you leave the client's place, after that you should not be going back and again open it, because the problem which I used to face earlier is that when I was in Tatas, what happens is sometimes I will not have the time to go through the audit report presented by the various firms. So I keep accumulating, and then I will open it after a month, and I used to ask for clarification. By the time I open it will be already 1 month is lapsed. So when I go back and ask for any clarification, people who have done the audit are also busy in some other area, and they also will not understand. I mean, they also will not be able to clarify my doubts quickly. They have to go back to their work papers or the files, understand, recollect, and then they have to come back. This process takes lot of time, and then I have to involve the partner also, because he is also very busy with various assignments, and it is practically impossible for everyone to keep everything at the mind after a period of time. That is why I always prefer that it should be at least done max to max 7 days to 10 days ideally, to have to avoid all the problems. This is most important communication with the management. The internal audit is required to have an effective two-way communication with the management. See what happens, we all do the audit and we write our observations in a paper or in a story in a computer, whatever. Then we don't discuss with the client at all. We then s- collect all the observations, and then finally we discuss. So this may not be an advisable. If you ask me, there must be a two-way communication with the client. See, auditing is, let us remember that auditing is not a fault finding exercise, it is a system improvement or the exercise. We should keep that in mind. See, everywhere there will be a problem. In a time, say in an allotted time of say 8 hours or 10 hours, anybody is working, you will not be able to 100% of your work correctly. There will be some gaps somewhere. So unless you do the audit, you will not be, the gaps will not get highlighted. The gaps are getting highlighted only to rectify it, not to find fault with it. So let us not find fault with let us not keep in mind that auditing is a fault finding exercise and do the audit. It will not serve any purpose to anyone. Let us do the audit thoroughly based on the circumstances and the diseases available. And we, if we, whenever we come across any issues or any observation, it is better to clarify with the client, take clarification, then do it. And if it is a very serious, you need not have to put it in the report, because the report will be seen by everybody. You can give it in the form of a management letter or something like that. I'm fine with it. But as long as it is recorded and it is given it in writing to the management, we have done with our job. That's it. Because you cannot be able to put everything point blank in everywhere in the report, because the report is accessible to so many people in the company. If you take Reliance where I worked, there are about 10,000 people used to work at those time. And audit, if I put everything in the report, then it will be a public document. So everybody will come to know, which is not required. Only select people in the team is highlighted, that is enough. That is why what we do is we don't highlight everything to everybody. We certain critical matters, high process issue or that we highlight it in a different management letter, so that next time the CFO or whatever it is, we will give instruction and ensure that it is not coming in the next time also. That is all we can do that. And the third one is that the process documentation shall be in various form. It need not be in writing or something like that. It can be in the form of a video, or it can be a various channel of communication, or phone, or hard copy, or whatever it is. But one condition, my request to everyone is that all critical should be in a paper and should be discussed and keep it preserve. You should preserve it, so that because it is so that it might be of some use at a later date. And when people all significant observations, when people come and ask you, at least you have the record in something in writing to show it off. Only for significant observation, I would prefer to have it in a paper form in writing and file it. The report writing preamble. What is the main purpose and objective? And the main purpose and objective is that primary first, that whether the formal audit report or a brief memo is to communicate management to a reader, and it should be in a very simple, straightforward manner, and it should be to the point. Let us not overstate or understate any problem, and let us not confuse anyone, because I will tell you some of the examples also. Some of the reports are very confusing and it is of no use to anyone. We have to write the observation is a very basic, simple English, so that it will be understood by the client. And the communication is, I always believe that the communication is complete only when both the parties understand, are on the same wavelength. Otherwise, you will write something and people will understand something, and it will not be of any use to the auditee at the end. And third point is use persuasive writing, convince your reader to accept the recommendation, and to reader that your conclusions are logical. Remember that whenever we are giving any observation, it should always be followed by two things. One, you should give the impact for the observation. The impact can be either in the form of a revenue loss, or high cost, or what process deficiency. And secondly, you should give also recommendation for the observation. If these two are not there in the report, then it is not a observation. So again, the purpose is that yes, by giving an observation, you are also giving what is the impact for this because of this observation, and how you can come out next year, so that this does not get repeated. That is why you are giving a recommendation. And finally, remember that for each and every observation, you should sit with the client auditee and then take confirmation in the form of a management comment. And the management comment, if you ask me, it should be a single line: accepted, will be implemented, shall be implemented. But beyond that, there should not be anything. If anything else is there beyond, then it should needs further discussion, so that you are not in the problem at a later on it. All pref- in short, the audit report should contain only all the points which are accepted by the one. If there is any dispute, it has to be discussed and closed then and there before it comes to the final report. That is why I always prefer to have three stages of report. One is the draft, second one is the edit, and third one is the final. All things should be all disconnect should be eliminated the draft stage itself, if not at least at the edit stage itself. This is the slide I am referring to. The first one is a draft. You can watermark also in your report. And second one is the edit. And third one is a final submission to the client. Because when you final submission, after that, there should not be any change in the report, either from our side or from the client side. Report writing, how will you write the report? See, now we are saying three categories, three stages of report writing. One is the draft, and second was the editing, and third one is the final. But now let us go in detail what is a draft and what is a edit and what is a submission. And after completing the submission, I will show you some of the report style which I follow, and it is accepted by most of the corporates. I follow this for the last about close to say 25-30 years now. And report writing, what is a finding? First of all, before you write an observation, you should know what is your observation. And for that, the observation should be classified into at least five categories, five C's. I call it as a 5C. One is the criteria, second one is a condition, third one is a cause, and fourth one is a consequence, and last one, it is very important, what is the corrective action. When before you write any observation, you please split up into five, try to split up into five categories, then you will be able to write your observation very clearly. What is the criteria? When I say criteria, on the right side you can see what should be the case. And what is a condition? Condition means what is the current status. And cause, what is the reason for the currents. And fourth one, what is because of this, what is the impact, and because and what is the corrective action. That is why I said whenever you have any observation, you should have impact and you should have recommendation. That is fourth line and the fifth point. Unless this is there for each and every observation, then it is not a finding at all. It should not find a place in our report. So let us take one example. You are finalizing say one accounts, and you are saying say about a provision for expenses for 10 lakhs has not been made. Because provision for 10 lakhs, I'm telling you an hypothetical example. Because provision for expenses for 10 lakhs was not made, the accounts is not getting reflected in a proper way. Because the provision is not made, the profit is overstated and expense is understated. So we'll try to split these observations into five categories. And what are the five categories? First, what is the criteria? I don't have any adequate control for monitoring this. That is what I said. Criteria means adequate control must be built into the process to ensure completeness, accuracy, and timeline for the month end closing process. If everything is there, then I should have been provided 10 lakhs and it will not have been escaped from anybody's mind. What is the condition? Certain expenses amounting to INR was not provided. That is, you have observed that. That is why I highlighted in a very bright color. This is what you have observed in the current status. And because you have found that 10 lakhs provision was not made, what is the cause? Adequate new review procedures is missing. That is, maker checker concept is not there, and because of that it is escaped attention from the client. So how can we do that? What is the consequence because of that? Because I have not provided 10 lakhs, my profits are overstated. And what is the corrective action? Corrective action is that three things. One, you must have a month end closing checklist. If you should the with the names, what is the activity and who is responsible for that. Suppose there are say five activities in the department, who should do that? Mr. X, Mr. Y, Mr. Z. That checklist should be given. Ideally, I would prefer the company to have monthly checklist, quarterly checklist, half-yearly checklist, and the annual checklist. So as and when the monthly closing is followed, then after the quarter, you in addition to the monthly closure, you are expected to follow the quarterly closure also. And with the limited review, everything is happening now. So well before that, you should be completing that quarterly review also, quarterly checklist also, and half-yearly checklist also in civil. But quarterly review checklist must be a subset of the monthly checklist, because monthly is very large and you will cover most of things. When you are able to cover all the points in a monthly closing list, and I'm sure more than 95% of the cases quarterly also is taken care of, probably except for something additional points which has been covered in the quarterly or half-yearly or annual. How will you do that? Develop a month end closing list first, and then along with the people responsible for doing that. The second one, provision for entries for each month should be followed independently. And third one, it should be parking and maker checkers should be there. If all these things are there, then I'm very sure you will not have any observation like this. I will tell you one more thing also. When I was doing one audit in the Tata, I don't want to name the hotel here. It is very difficult to get even a single observation from that hotel. The reason is everything is systematically followed, and you will hardly get 5 to 10 observation because everything has been done very in a fantastic manner whichever area you touch. I spent close to about a week's time analyzing and getting everything, but I could not come out with any concrete observation, even at was spending 7 days in the hotel and about 10 hours to 11 hours per day continuously. So there are some companies still where it is very systems are absolutely working fine, and it is very difficult to come out with any observations. Very few companies, but still there are good companies like that only. After report and three step for once we write the report, so you basically compile all your findings or observation to 5 C's, ensure that 5 C's are done, and then you form observations. And then when you write the observation, please ensure to write the impact and as well as the recommendation. And then then we can go to the editing stage. Management come on, we'll take it at the end. But first, before we give the report, we should be very clear that we are writing proper report. And what is the meaning of this editing? 3 C's for editing. Again, concise, complete, and clear. When I say concise, it should be identify only key findings and prioritize. And the third one is complete. Second one is complete. Determine what type of information are needed to support each finding. And third one, it should be consistently, it should apply the standards for coherent return communication. Before we start the editing of the report, we should keep this slide is slightly important. We should see that we follow and we adhere to all these points. Always I would prefer to take a printout and read it in a hard copy. The reason being is that when you see the system on your laptop or in your computer, sometimes there is a possibility that you will you will miss some out something there. I do not know. It happened to me many times. That is why I always prefer to have a printout of the copy and read it myself. I'll read the report at least once, twice, or thrice whenever I get the time. Because the reason is that first time when I read, I will glance through the report from end to end. Then second time I will get first time when I go through the report, I will get an idea, and then I will think about it, and then I will set aside the report for few hours. Then after 2 3 hours I take the same report and go through, because I will get some more point, and then I will be able to make some corrections in that. That is why I always prefer to go through hard copy. It is like reading a newspaper in the morning. See, newspaper news can be read on your laptop also or on your mobile also, but it is there is a difference when you read it physically in the morning. So that is why I always prefer and advise that you take a printout, go through the report carefully, each and every line item, and then it might definitely give you some idea for changing or for correction or for improvement. The second point is that don't begin to edit your report immediately. Allow some cooling time. Read the report from top to bottom once. Give it a cooling time of say at least half an hour or 1 hour. Then you can finish. You can divert your mind. You can go out. You can have some breakfast or go out with friends and then come back. Or you can attend to other work and then take the report. You will come out. I am very sure you will come out with some fresh ideas. The third point is before you begin your editing, review needs of your reading audience. You should know what the client wants. See, the report writing, when you give the report, as I said earlier before I started the presentation, it should be of some help to our clients. If it is not some any help to the clients, then it does not make any sense for us to do the audit, because it is of no use to the client. So what is the point in doing it? So read when you understand the requirement of the client and present it in such a way that the client is benefited at the end. And third one, reconcile and objectives listed in the report or the findings included to ensure readers' expectations will be met. It's very clearly you have to write it. You have to reconcile the objectives listed in the report. And the sorry, sorry. Read through the entire report at a normal reading rate to evaluate the flow, understand everything, and then you will come to know whether there is any mistake in the report or not and needs correction. Otherwise, leave it, no problem. But don't be in a hurry to read through. Take your time to read through in a very clear manner and keep versions. This is a very important point because what happens when you do the report writing the first time, you keep it as version 1. After that, after the cooling period or tomorrow or sometime, some of your staff, some of your colleagues or seniors might come out with something and they will say there is a change in the point number, some points, sir, so it has to be revised, it has to be revisited, it has to be changed and all that. Then please don't overwrite the report. Please make the changes and save it as a separate version as version 2. And then by doing so, it doesn't matter that you can have n number of versions in the report, version 1, 2, 3. You can go up to version 22 also. I don't, that doesn't make any sense. By doing so, it will be helpful. You will come to know at a later date what corrections you have made where, so that wherever corrections are required, you are not overwriting the report. You are making different report and saving as a separate document. It is very important. Please don't overwrite a report under any circumstances, because when you overwrite, the earlier one will get automatically erased. And today you will remember, after 1 year or after 6 months, you will not be able to know where exactly the changes have been made. I will never recommend that it's overwriting of the report. However, the small, however negligible the changes are, but keep it as a version 2. I still have, in some of the cases, I have some 10 versions of the report because I know what report, where is the report has been changed. When I make any changes, I highlight or I put it in a different color so that it will be visible. Finally, when I give, I will put it as a final document and release. But wherever the changes are made, I do it in a different color or highlight myself so that I know, yes, I have made changes in that particular place. That is why I recommend have versions. And finally, allow cooling period and read beginning to end. Once again, see, it doesn't matter to read it, nothing wrong in reading the report again and again. It doesn't matter. So some people have the habit of getting some additional information after the second time of reading or the third time of reading. It doesn't matter. As long as you can do n number of reading before you finally submit the report, you finally edit the report. That is why it is called editing. Finally, get a review. After you do the audit, after you write the report, I would suggest that the report must be finally seen by your senior, either a director or a manager or a team leader or a partner. So that the reason being that everybody looks at the things in a different unique way. You may look at the things in a one way, your other person might live into a different way, so it might be of some use for you to give some changes, some modification to the report. That is why I always give to other people in the team to row through. It doesn't matter, the other person may be a junior to you or a senior to you, but I always give it to the senior, because so that I already reviewed the work of the junior, so there is no point in approaching the other same junior again. I will give it a different person who is at my level or at my slightly senior level, so that he can come out with fresh ideas and give some better inputs for me to correct it. Three, the observation and in the report. One, we should be specific. Don't say more than what you want to say. I don't want anything to be expanded beyond a point. Say to the point. It should not be understated or it should not be overstated. It should be very precise. And second one is say what exactly we want to say. Third one is it should be in a very clear and very straightforward and a very simple language. And fourth one is Don't generalize beyond the scope of evidence. If we don't have any evidence, let us not put it in the report because it is of no use for us. See, I will give you one example. This is basically given by an audit team member or audit firm where the language used is absolutely, I'm not able to understand at least what exactly the point was. So after reading this observation, I need to go back to the audit team who did the audit and have some clarifications, take further inputs, refer to the files, everything, and then I re-modified the observation for a better understanding. This is the observation. This is not exaggerated. This is exactly what I received initially from one of the audit firms. The audit review revealed that payroll was only being checked by HR and not independently checked by finance as a part of monthly payroll process in order to improve control efficiency. The English itself is not in very written in a very nice manner. It is very complicating, and when we are submitting this kind of report to the management, to the top people, they will not like it. So I understood this and I have written it in a very simple manner. We noted that payroll was not being independently checked by the finance department. Simple. If you write like this, then people will understand. This is the one example I'm trying to. So what in by this example, what I'm trying to say is, let us write it in a very simple and straightforward manner, which can be understood by everyone, at least the auditee. Whoever auditee may be any person in that. It may be a CFO or it may be general manager. Let everybody should have a very clear constraint so that auditee and auditee as auditor are on the same wavelength. As far as possible, try to make it very simple. Report writing, paragraph readability. What makes a good paragraph? There are 4 points in this. One, it should contain only one idea. Don't mix up multiple points in the same point. And third one, it should have clear and easy to read sentences. Third one, it should be very simple and short, and it has most important, it must be unity, coherence, and logical connections. I would say that multiple points should not be clubbed, and the same other way, the same point should not also be repeated. So one point should come in only one place. This is what, when I say unity and all that, you should say unity means that all sentences develop idea as experience. What is the concept and logical conclusion? Paragraph readable. I will give you one more example. See, this is the example of another example of picked up from the another audit firm which I was doing when I was handling the internal audit function. One audit firm has reported like this. Based on the approved sheet, the compensation benefits department prepares a summary and then it forwarded the same to finance payroll. Finance means payroll department at the time of bonus payout. However, the finance department does not independently verify accuracy of the bonus summary received from the compensation team with a summary Excel sheet approved by the CEO, CFO, and other heads. Individual departments prepare bonus calculation sheet for agreeing with the respective employees and submit the HR department. Finally, the overall bonus payout for the year is formally approved in the Excel sheet by all the heads, CEO, CFO, and other. I am not able to understand anything what exactly is the point, and when I read it for the first time, so I picked up and then took some clarification from the team who did the audit, and then I rewrote it like this myself. Individual departments prepare bonus calculation sheet after agreeing with the respective employees and submit these sheets to the HR department. The overall bonus payout for the year is formally approved in the Excel sheet by the heads. Based on the approved sheet, the compensation benefits prepare a summary and forward the same to finance at the time of bonus payment when it is due. However, the finance does not independently verify the bonus scheme, and because of that, there's a problem. See, by doing this, you get the sequence of events happening in a very logical manner. You, that is what I am telling you again and again. When we write the observation, it must be in a sequential form, from even if it is multiple, say 3 4 line, in a proper manner, sequence wise we'll do it. First, the it is not prepared, but this is what is to be done, this is not been done, why it has not been done, because of this it goes to some other people, finally so if we write like this logically, it is easy to understand also to everyone. Internal audit report writing, effective writing hints. What is effective writing? Use outlines to plan what you will say and refer to constantly and try to arrange your points in a sequence and the put most important ones in first. See, lot of what mainly happens is when we suppose in a particular department there are about say 25 observations, I would prefer to put it in the to put the first all the important points, and then all unimportant point, the second level of importance can be done later on also. So the reason being is that when we put the first point in the same thing also, then it will catch the attention of the auditee first, and then they will be able to take quick action. See, when we give about a 30 40 page report, nobody will have time to go through each and every line item. At the senior people, at least at the end of the day, action should be initiated by the senior people only through the down the line. So when we give that kind of a report to the team, at least it should have two form. One, it should be each department wise, he should be in a report should be done, and for each department also, all the points should be as per the according to the significant point should appear in the first, and then less significant points can be done later on, and the third level of insignificant points can be at the end. If you put, you imagine the other way around, if you put the insignificant points in the first line, and the last point say that the departmental point say it has got about say 10 points, but the first few points are very less significant, people might not even, I'm very sure people might not even read the 10th point, although it is the 10th point is a very significant point. Follow the reverse procedure and put all the significant points in the first place, so that it will catch the attention of the auditing quickly. And third one is, the second one is start where your readers don't try to level higher than what the readers knowledge of it. And purpose of the explain is not to prove that we are smart, we are putting actually what is the fact of the case. That's third one is very important. Let us not use words or expressions or phrases known only to people with specific knowledge or interest. It is very bad to use this kind of for example, based on the results of statistical research, we found that in 7.2% of the cases it is not there. Ideally, when you write the report, three things should be basically should be there. What is your observation should be classified into 4 points. Say for example, you are verifying the some observation you have got it while verifying the documents for in the month of say June and July. Your sample was say June and July, so you take you that June July also should be there, and what is how many documents you have seen, that also should be there, and how many errors it is with, that also should be there. After that, the error can be converted into a percentage. For example, you are seeing 100 documents between June 23 and July 23. Out of 100 cases, you have found some, say, in 20 cases, it is missing, so it is not there, it has been reported. So you write very clearly, while verifying 100 documents between June 23 and July 20, we observed that in 20 cases this was not followed as per SOP so and so, which means 20 by 100, which is equal to 20%. So which very clear, all month is also there, your sample is also there, and your error is also there, and error in the percentage also it is given in the bracket. So everything is available in this form. Many people they don't give numbers, they give only 7.2. See, this 7% it can be on 100 documents or it can be 1000 numbers also. So we don't know. We have to give the sample also as far as possible. The number sample size we are selecting also to the client in observation. So then the wider coverage we have seen, then way we are see at the end of the day percentage remains the same, but the number of error, it makes a lot of difference. On a 100 7 makes difference, but whereas on a 535, although it remains a 7%, but it gives wider it gives an impression to the auditee that you have extensively covered the work, and the error has come over the period, not in just one case. So that is the importance. Stick to the point, refer to the outline consistently, and ask questions does not relate to the outline. If not, should I include these in there? If not, I'm getting off the track. Always remember that whether it is right to report. If it have even 1% of benefit, just give the benefit. I would say that benefit of doubt should be given to the client. There is no point reporting. You must be 100% confident, 100% right that it is a point and it should be reflected. Otherwise, please do not report. Give the benefit of doubt to the client. The next point is be brief. When you write, condense will make it tighter, straighter, easier to read and understand. Don't make any complicated observations. Very simple, cohesive manner so that it is understood. Because the reason is there are people down the line also who may not be as smart as we are. So it has to be, they should, because at the end of the day, in a client's place, the people down the line are working. So they should know that, yes, they have made a mistake and it needs correction. So you have to give explanation to them also so that they understand and they don't repeat the same mistake again. That is why it is required to be very, very, very simple and very straightforward and easy to understand language. And present points in a very logical order. If there is a multiple lines or there, put it in a sequence of events so that people also understand better. And avoid mysteries in writing the report. Hit the reader with the main point in the opening sentence of each video. First point itself, we should convey the point. So if you have multiple sentences, don't give at the last minute. If you want to give it at the last sentence, you make it as a separate paragraph and give. And in a written communication with the basic tool words, sentences, paragraph, effective use of these tools make difference. When we remember that the use of language makes a lot of difference in the report. This is another checklist for the audit team who are doing the audit, which I have come across many areas like this. Always use bullets and consistent with the format throughout the document. Suppose you are giving, say, about 50-page document, the bullet format, the bullet style, and the font, everything should be same size and the same color. Don't mix up. Sometimes you don't use a bullet in the tick, next page you don't put the circle, it will not give nice. It may be anything, it is as per your choice. It varies from person to person. I always use garamond or normally I don't use Arial, I always use garamond, or that is because I like the font very much. In the presentation also you see only garamond font. And it will be consistent, all the headings will be in one format and all the report will be in same font size. Always use spell check and be consistent with the font types and size. Don't increase size and decide the heading should be this size and the content should be this size. Then you can decide accordingly. It is all your people choice. And always use spell check. Lot of things, many times this is not happening. There is a lot of errors are happening there, and it gives very unpleasant look to the people who are reading that. So please ensure, let us ensure that spell check is correct. And use the word draft. Whenever you are using a draft report, please watermark or write somewhere that it is a draft report and it is not a final report. Text the line spacing to be consistent. You cannot have 1.5 or 1. It should be uniform everywhere. And alignment of heading and subheadings. And be consistent with the capital letters and small letters. everywhere in the report, and be consistent with the use of department functions business units. Although everything carry the same, but you have to write as per the company which you are auditing. Some companies they use department, some companies they use the word function, and some companies may use other things also. So even if you write, if you take people, some are called CFO, some are called head of finance, some are called vice president finance. So you should address based on the designation of the particular company which you are auditing. Don't generalize. Make sure all numbers and corresponding currency are. See, this problem we will face when we are doing the audit of, yeah, see, when the numbers are large, we restrict to lakhs or crores or millions. Why I am writing this point is that in some of the observations we put it as a full amount. In some of the cases we shortlist into say millions, or it is wrong. The entire report must be in the same currency or in the same. If it is INR, it should be in the INR everywhere. If it is a US dollars, you put it US dollars. And secondly, if you are writing in the full amount INR, you write full amount. Even if it is a crore amount carries 9 digit, you can scan 9 digit. Or if you want to concise, you please concise it everywhere. Say millions or lakhs or crores, whichever. There should not be, some page should be in crore, some page should be in lakhs, some crore it is in full amount. Please avoid. It doesn't give a good impression when we read the report. Typical internal audit layout. When you take the report, basically we should cover all these points. First, there must be a cover page, and second, there must be a table of content, and third, what is the objective, and fourth, what is the background, and what is the limitation, and observations and conclusion, summary, and then detailed results, and it should be followed by the respective annexes. This is the first page. When I see the first page, I will show you the example when I am doing it. See, the report can be written either in the form of a Word document or in the document of a PPT. It all depends upon how we do it, because I would prefer to give it in a Word document generally. And when you do this, I have given lot of space on the left side, observations, and second line, what is the impact. When I am saying what is observation, what is the error, and I will classify this each point in the report into three categories. One, high risk, and the low risk, and the middle one is the medium risk. So HML. H will always be, I will classify it into red color, and if it is a medium risk, I will classify it in an yellow or orange color, and if it is a low risk, I wouldn't bother much, I will classify it as a green color. So this green color will be automatically thing. And because of observations and the report, I mean the impact, I'm also giving you the recommendation. The first three should always be filled up, and it should never be blank for each and for any observation, however big and however small the observation may be. And what is the auditing comments? Auditing comment should be, if you ask me, it should be a single liner, accepted, and it will be implemented. Implementation date July 24, 2024, or September 2024. That's it. I will show you the reason of showing you the date is that when you are doing the audit for the second time, as I said earlier, take the previous year report, run through the report, all the points carefully from top to bottom, and make notes of it. Whatever the points have been agreed, what is the point, what is the area, and what is the department, and what is the agreed date. So if some of the observations are agreed that it will be implemented, say from September 24, this time when you are doing the audit in the month of say December, you should take some samples post that date, agreed date. If it is September, you take some samples in the month of say December or January or November for the same observation, pick up some samples in the current year and see whether the observation is remains valid or not. If it is valid, then it is a very serious offense and it should be highlighted in the current year report as a previous year observations. This is very important because the reason is that when they have accepted that yes, I am going to implement whatever the suggestion given by the auditor, say from September, they are expected to implement in September. They should not have any excuse for non-implementing, for excuse for not doing the things. When they say it will be implemented in the September, I am sure that they should be implementing. If not, it should be highlighted as a very important critical point so that it doesn't get repeated second time next time. So please ensure that this is done before you start the audit, and please give importance to the previous year observations. When you all the previous year observations take down in a paper, understand everything, and then take a fresh sample when you are doing it for the second time or something, ensure that there is no previous period observation. If there is any previous period observation, please highlight it, and it is a very, very, very serious observation. And below I have given our marks whether it is a process issue or it is a policy issue or a people issue. You can fill it up then, and then what is a sample size you have given, you can note down what is the population and what is a sample and how many cases you had this issue. Everything can be captured in the second end, and also you can say whether it is an efficiency or whether it is a effectiveness or whether it is a risk. You can take it in this way. This is a PowerPoint presentation. What is the report writing do's and the major things? There are about 10, 15 points here. Before we write the report, we should say the report must be basically, it should be in a very structured format. It should not be unstructured. When I say structured, it should be very, very clear, understandable, and captured in a very nice and a presentable manner. And use simple language. Don't use language which is cannot be understood by anyone. And third one, please be specific to the point and don't overstate and don't understate anything because it doesn't make any value to anyone. Identify the root cause of the problem. As I said earlier, you would have each observation should be classified into 5 C's, and then criteria, connection, cause, corrective action, corrective action. 5. Split the observations into 5 C's and then ensure that it is an observation, then put it. And give the base value of the impact. Whenever the impact should always be, I would prefer the impact when you write an impact. If there is any revenue loss, you should quote the revenue loss. Although it is a small, it doesn't matter, you quote. When you have the details, you please quote it. And secondly, if there is no revenue loss, if it is a process issue, then quote it accordingly. And then if it is a people issue, then quote it. Whatever be the observation, the impact must be very clearly should be communicated so that when you communicate clearly, the people, the auditee will understand, right, yes, this needs immediate or a quick action. And it should be issue based or control lapse. If all the control lapses should be highlighted separately and all the issues should not be mixing up, and give adequate instances with population and coverage details. When you write any observation, it should have what is the population and what is the size you are taking it as a sample, and in that sample, which month you are selecting as a sample, and in that month, what is the error, how many you have seen, and in how many cases you are having a problem, and both in terms of the numbers, and the numbers can be converted into a percentage also. If you do everything, then it is easy and it will give you some understanding to the client. Then yes, we have got large problem in this particular month or in this particular area and it needs to be corrected. That is why we give all the details as much as possible to the auditee, and all annexures to have values and totals. When I say annexure, see, today we are all using audit techniques and we download the report and do. So it may not be possible to give all the report on that, and we are giving it in a soft copy format. My suggestion will be annexure for each observation should not be for a more than a page. If you have, say, if you are running about, say, if you are downloading the report containing about 5,000 line items and you are doing some audit techniques and doing, and you have come across, say, about in 200 cases you had an issue, and my suggestion will be you take 500 and keep it as your work reference paper, and for annexure purpose, wherever there is a problem, you take it out separately, that is 200 in this case, and in this 200 also you put it in the descending order of the value so that the highest value will be at the top. I am very sure that if you do like this, out of 200 line items, if you take the top 10 or 15 items, line items, it will cover more than at least 80% of the total. That is sufficient. You don't have to, because the bottom lines may be insignificant amount or less significant amount which you can omit or which you can set aside for the time being. All the put it always put it in the descending order of the value, and see that I'm invariably in 95% of the cases the top 10 line items will cover 70 to 80% of your problems, which is more than sufficient to prove your observation, and it is easy also for the client to understand, read and take corrective action. And second, when you are giving annexes, see, if there are multiple annexes, if the suppose there are, say, and you are having about 75 observations and you are having, say, about 50 annexes, always try to interlink either in the hard copy or in the soft copy also, doesn't matter. Please try to hyperlink it so that when anybody wants to see the observation, they can go to that particular annexion where they want to see and understand better, and then they can go back to the report. The hyperlink must be in both the ways, both in the report as well as in the annexion, forward to backward and backward to forward. So both things should be hyperlinked. And secondly, and one more thing, if the annexure has got only 5 6 line items, you don't have to give it as an annexure. You can put it in the main report itself under your observation, so that it, because for few line items, say less than 10, it doesn't make any sense for us to give an annexure. You can give it in the report itself so that then and there the people can understand. They don't have to go to have the trouble of going back, going to the annexure and read it, because the numbers are very less. Figures given in the point should be up with the connection. Many times what happens, you have showing something in the annexure, some amount, and the same amount is not tallying in the report. So when we say that in the month of June and July, in my sample of, say, 500 or 5,000, when I am having 200, you put that, say, the 200 numbers correctly, the total at least not really, at least in this case the number should tally what is the total number. Otherwise it will not. For suppose the client wants to see the breakup for the line, say 25 line items or 30 line items which you are having an error, it the total should tally, and the client will be interested in 25 who are the cases and where are these coming from, which are the parties, which are the customers, which are the employees, so that they can take connection. And again, in that, when you are reporting the area, customer wise or creditor wise or vendor wise or employee wise, again follow the descending order so that the highest number of cases take will require quick action. Annexure reference in the report should match with the actual annexure number. Annexure number, see, there are two ways of doing it. The annexure number can be same as your report number, or you can follow continuous serial number, annexure 1 to the, suppose you are having observation 1 to 75 observations, the observation, suppose annexure 1 has no, I mean, the point number 1 has no annexure, you can leave it. Point number 2 has annexure. Either you can say point in the annexure as annexure 2, or you can refer to cross link it, or you can carry the annexure also one there and put it. Whichever way you want to do, it should be very clearly. If you write in the point number 2 as annexure 1, you put annexure 1, this annexure number should be the same in the annexure. Invariably what happens here, you are putting it as an annexure 1, but there you are putting it as an annexure 2, because you are referring to the point number there. That is why there is a disconnect. So try to avoid that, so that it is not misleading to the client. All annexations should have relevant information relating to them. When you write the observation, give a sub heading at the top before you write the report, and similarly when you give annexure, link that same heading to the annexure also, so that both will tally and it is easy, you are not mixing it up. Sometimes what happens, the annexure or the observations, they do not have any heading, because of which it is very difficult to understand to read. One liner is sufficient in the form of the observation, may be running to about so few lines, but summary form, heading form should be there at least in a single liner, both in the main report as well as in the annexure. Issues to be segregated. Please do not combine or club the multiple issues in the same point, and same point also, it should not appear for the second time elsewhere. In the shell, one point should come only in one place, because otherwise it doesn't make it is not, it is incorrect to report in multiple places the same observations. Right words should be used in the points. It is very important, because many times what happens, we use the word might, will, may and all. So don't, when you are giving clear, it should be to the facts of the case, and the recommendation should also be to be very clear and to the point. Terms used by the auditee should be used in the points. It is very important. Nomenclature, because nomenclature varies from client to client. Whatever the nomenclature used by the client, they are comfortable. Use the same thing for that. You don't do whatever you want to do, because the client will not like it. And important points in the annexure should be given instances in the main point based on the board. That is why I'm saying, if that is running multiple pages, you restrict your annexures only to say 5 or 10 or 15, not more than a single page, maybe max 20. Beyond that, don't give, because one annexion restricted to one page. Beyond that, don't give. You can keep it for your reference. When they ask for it, you can give it to them, you can show it to them. And every point should have adequate supporting papers with relevant backup documents. I will show you all how the files should be maintained, how the samples should be, so that it can be referred at a later date, even after 3 years or 4 years. These 5 points are very important. One-off cases need not be reported, because see, everybody commits mistakes, everybody makes mistakes. It is not necessary for us if it is an abnormal observation. See, in any company, as I said earlier, in a time frame of 8 to 10 hours, mistakes bound to happen. It is very difficult to do without any mistake in any area. Everybody is a human being, everybody is a, suppose on a very larger organization, say you are auditing a 500 crore company, and you are having some problems with some value, say about 1,000 rupees or 5,000 rupees, you need not report this, because it doesn't make any sense. On a 500 crore company, one transaction or two transactions with a cumulative value of 2,000 plus 3,000, 5,000 rupees, you can just leave it, you can just omit it. You don't have to make a big issue of highlighting this. One, it is immaterial, and second, it doesn't speak good of ourselves, because small points should always be omitted, should be given benefit of doubt to the client. It should not make it as an issue. And repetitive language should be avoided. Don't use repertory package because it will speak the quality of the audit and the quality of the audit firm. And don't mix up different points in the same point. Should be segregate to the extent possible, and the same point should not be in a multiple layer. Again and again I'm telling you, because I keep seeing, even today I keep seeing many points getting repeated in every audit report which I see. Most of the audit reports I see, and lengthy annexures to be avoided. Maximum one sheet is enough. If you have multiple numbers, just keep it as a work paper. Don't give it as an annexure. Give it only to 15 to 20 cases, and the two in a descending order, covering the top 10 line items will cover 90% of your. That is more than sufficient to prove your point. And contradictions to be avoided. Each point is correct in another point. It should be very, very, very clear. Contradiction should be avoided. Now I show you some of the papers which how I will use this. I will show you some of the observations also. I said report template which should contain after the covering where the report should start with a page like this. At the top left corner, you put the name of the unit or the company you are doing the audit. If the same company is having multiple units, so you put unit name and company name also second. And secondly, you should also see what is the internal audit report, which period it is. Because why I'm saying this is, if the same company is having say about 10 manufacturing unit, you will be doing that unit X in for one period and unit Y for another period. So always prefer, don't put only financial year 23 24. It doesn't make any sense. It should be from October 23 to October 22, sorry 24, or September 22 to October 22. Month year is also required. Don't put only financial 23-24. Don't generalize. It should be very, very specific. When is this will be useful whenever you have got auditing the multiple units or multiple manufacturing units in a multiple setup. And what is the name company? This is on the top left, and at the center you can put the name of the company, and what is the unit also for ready reference, and what is the internal audit, which period. Whatever you are writing at the top left, I am summing up at here also. Here this will be on the first page, whereas the last page will be everywhere. And when you write the report, please split up into at least 4 sections or 5 sections. The first section must be executive summary, which is nothing but a one liner of all your observations to be captured. And the second one will be the sign off page, which will contain the name of the unit and the top two people, maybe the CEO or the general manager of the unit, and say signing partner. So both should be there along with the name and the designation. And the point number C or section number C will be observations. And in the observation also, I would like to have C and D. First, period of the previous year observations or prior observations, and the current year observations. And then C will be prior year observations, D will be current year observations, and E will be the annexes, so that you will all everything in the same report. And after this, in the first page itself, you should have what is the audit date, what is the starting date, and what is the ending date, audit dates. What on what dates you are doing the audit. It should have both the start date as well as the end date. And what is the audit period? It is from say September 22 to October 23 only. Month and year should be required. And third, your firm name. The reason is that why I need the audit firm in this report is that in a company there may be 4 or 5 auditors. Some of the unit manufacturing units are handled by firm X, some of the manufacturing units are handled by firm Y. You may not be doing the audit of the entire company. You may be auditing only some units. Other firm may be doing the some audit. So the management should know which unit is doing audited by which person. That is why I am giving the unit name at the top and the audit firm here. Who is the partner, engagement partner or audit partner in charge of this place, and who are the audit team members. If it is 4 5 people, then all the names should be there. And what is the team mandates? When I say mandates, it should be supported by a work paper, exclusive white paper. What you can prepare is on the first column you can write the date, 1st July, 2nd July, 3rd July, 4th July, like this. And on the next few row columns, you can write team number, team name, X, Y, Z, and the total. Suppose on 1st July, team X is working 6 hours. Team Y is, I mean, the Y person is working 7 hours, and the Z person is working 8 hours. So the total will be 6 plus 7 plus 8, 21. The next 2nd July, same thing, 6 7 8 21. So after 21 you had two columns. The first column will be hours worked for the day, and the next column will be hours worked till date. Suppose on the 1st July you will come across 21, 6 plus 7 plus 8 21. Whereas on the second line also 21, but the last column should be 21 plus 21 42. So at any, by doing so, at any point of time I will know how many man hours or how many man days has been spent till that particular date. Suppose when the audit is done, say from 1st July to 15th July, and every day you are spending 8 plus 8 plus 8 is 24 hours. So on third day, I will come to know 24 into 3, 72 man hours or has been spent by 3 people in the husband. So the work paper should have both hours worked today and hours worked till date, and report discussed and finalized on when is the draft report. If you have multiple reports, multiple, there is some, you can also add one more row: report submission date, draft report submission date, discussion date, and the some final submission date. You can add that also. Here I have added only one because I discuss the report then and there, and then I close, and then I get the sign off also there itself. I always believe that when I wind up after any audit, I don't go back to the again to the client. I finish everything in all aspects, including the sign off from both sides, from myself and from the client side also, and then I come out. Once I come out, I don't look back to the, I don't open the file again. Even if it is taking 2 days more, I don't mind sitting in the same place, do the work, complete the work, and come. Because by doing so, I need not remember what exactly has happened 1 week back or 2 weeks back, because I will not be able to, when I am doing multiple assignments, it becomes very difficult for me to store everything in the mind. That is why I always prefer the winding up date should be the final winding up date. After that, you should never open the file for anything, including the filing aspects. I always give importance to the filing aspect because I see in the last 25 30 years, many papers or important papers are not getting filed in the way in which it is to be filed. So first sheet should be this. This is the summary level. You have all the details. You are doing, you know which company you are doing the audit, you know which year you are doing the audit, you know which period you are doing the audit, and you also know what is the, who is the, which firm is doing the audit, what is the start date, what is the closing date, and what is the period I am covering, and who is the signing partner, who are the members of the audit team, and when I am releasing the draft report, when I am finalizing the final, all the basic details required for an audit assignment are available in one single page, the top page. When you come down, this is the second page, which should always be signed by client as well as by the audit firm. The first two are for the audit and the second two are for the client. So sign off must happen here. Always prefer to take a physical sign off or the mail confirmation attached to this. This is the observations I said earlier. I categories high value as red, medium as yellow, and low as low green color, because this gets the list of my priorities. I will focus only on the first two. And as far as the issue are concerned, I classify into four categories, whether it is a people issue or process issue or a policy issue. And also value driven definition, what whether it is an efficiency, how is the effectiveness, and how is the risk mitigation. This is what the report can be driven. I am some can the report can be either captured here or it can be captured in the columnar format in a Word document also. This is the report template, and I will give you some summary also. Before I go to this, I will go to the executive summary. Why I prefer executive summary? Because of this reason. See, these are all the observations, right? In that observation also, the top page you can see what is the internal audit, what is the year 23-24 I am doing. I am not mentioned the period year because this is only one unit and multiple units are there, and I am doing this only for one time in a year. I don't get repeated. This is done on an annual basis. That is why I have said 23-24. I have not said month. And here what is the name of the company I am writing, which company I have done. I have done at the top left, ABC and company. This is an audit firm. And what is the client on the right side, I am giving it as a client name. This is actually ABC is, which I have done is in my individual capacity. That is why I don't put my name. I have written it as ABC. See, whenever I hear there is no current year, previous year observation, because the unit, the company itself is a new company, and I am doing it for, I did this audit for the first time. So that is why I never, there was no previous year observation. That is why previous observation, I have classified correctly as a current year observation. If there are any previous year observations, then you classify as a previous year observations. Previous year observation means very simple. You are not doing the audit of the previous year. Previous year observation, you did the audit of previous year, and again you are doing it for the second time. You are taking only the fresh samples in the current year for the observation of the previous year. And since you are having a same observation getting repeated in the current year also by taking your fresh samples, you are classifying it as a previous year and not as a current year observation. That is the only simple. Previous year means it is not that previous year, it is only a current year observation, but for the observations previous year. Why it is previous year? Because they have agreed to do something last year which they have not done. I have taken some samples post the agreement agreed date and found that the same observation is getting repeated this time also. That is why I am classifying it as a previous year and not as a classified. This is the only difference. And remember that when we write the observations, first it should contain at least 2 3 paragraph. If you are following any SOP around that, put what the SOP contains. And I have put one single line header also for observations. What this observation is, this observation is running into few lines. I won't be able to understand what this pertains to. That is why I have given a single line as T07 T20 rate code. This observation talks about the rate, some of the rate codes in a hotel. So I have put it as a observation number C1, first observation. And what is observation? This observation is pertaining to the rate code usage. So then people will know, yes, he is talking about the rate code. There is some issue in the rate code, and particularly these two rate code, and that is why I have put it as a. And After the observation, and in the observation itself, I will talk first few lines about what that policy says, what that SOP says, what is that process document says. As per process document or as per policy, if I have a policy number, I will put as per SOP number so and so, dated so and so. This is what has to be done. So first few lines for the first paragraph will carry what exactly the process, what exactly the policy says. It is a direct ditto of the policy document. I don't change anything. I just copy paste it. And the second line, because of this we have to do something. I am This is not is happening. So I will write it in the second paragraph saying that as per process document this has to be done, but this is be done. And the second and third line is a error rate. Second paragraph I say that what is the number I have seen, what is a month, what is a year I'm thinking, and what is the observations I am making. And if the observation here it is very large, I am not giving him as a below the line, I am giving it as an annexure. I'm giving it as a second separate annexure, and I will hyperlink it here. When I touch this here, it will go to that particular annexure, and again in that particular annexure, I will click that annexure point number so and so, it will come to here. So that when top management read this report, or probably in a laptop or in the whatever it is, they can do so. They don't have to run through each and every page in the document. This report has got more than about say 75 pages. So you don't have to go by referring the annexure. You first of all, you do not know in which page the annexure is. You have to run through each and every. That is a hyperlink. When you touch here, automatically it will go to the 68th page or 69th page. They will know what are the types of problems, which customer and all that. Then they can come back to the same report again. That is why both way hyperlink is done, and all the observations have impact. Impact will be two. Impact will be there. One, non-compliance with the policy document or the process document or whatever it is, an internal document. And secondly, if any laws are affecting, then you have to put the laws also. And if it is probably revenue loss or expenditure cost or something, that you can put that also. So all these things will be captured here in the impact. Policy issues, non-compliance with the policy, and because of this, what is the impact in terms of the amount I qualify. And third one, if there is a law is involved, put that also so that everything is covered. It will be an eye opener for the company to take corrective action quickly. And all my observations, I request everyone to put the recommendation also, because only when you give recommendation, people will understand what is that. And the last point will last line, the last column will be management response. Here, if you see, first line should be there is no any dispute in this observation. Client has agreed to this observation. That is why they have put agreed. I am accepting this. Remember that we have no right to write anything in the last page. The last page is exactly the copy paste of what the client is writing. The English may not be right, or English may not be that, but yes, we don't have any right to change, to modify, or to delete or add anything in this last column. It should be Control C, Control V of the comment given by the client from the earlier thing to the final submission. Please remember that we don't have any right to touch others' thing. So this is what I have written. It has got one. By doing so, this observation on the summary level, I know this is a current year observation or the previous year observation. Then I also know if it is a current year observation, I will say C. If it is a previous observation, I will say as B. B means the previous item, prior year. So I also know what is the observation I am talking about by giving a one liner. And For each observation, I have an impact also. The impact also classified in terms of two categories, whether it is a revenue loss, whether it is a cost issues, or whether it is a policy issues. Everything is covered. And what is a recommendation also, so that it's a correct. This is nothing but impact is nothing but a cause. And this is nothing but a corrective action. So I am giving the corrective action also in the form of a recommendation, and I am also giving what is the management has accepted this point, and then they are saying that I will show one of the report also. They say they will be implementing some X date or Y date. This is how all the observations, and wherever annexes are there, this annexure is also interlinked to the respective page. When I say goes to this page, then this is only as 5 pages. So I will show you annexure also, another report. This is the executive. After all the reports are written, the report may be 75 points or 80 points you have for various departments, and I don't expect any client to run through 75-page report because it is time consuming for them, and they may not have the time also, patience also to read everything. That is why, as said earlier, I always give the executive summary at the top after this my first page. The second page will be executive summary, where I capture the one liner of my observations, giving clearly the instances. So this is captured department wise, human resources, front office, housekeeping, everything. People also will say, why you are talking about when front office is a key, why are you putting it about it? This has been given as per the requirement of the client. The client at the time of giving the assignment is said very clearly, you give the report in this format only, in this order of preferences, in this order of departments. They wanted the report of the HR to be at the top. So that is why I am giving it HR at the top, because in the scope at the time of agreeing the assignment, at the time of taking the assignment, you need to be very clear what exactly the areas has to be covered and what exactly the department has to be covered, how the reporting structure will happen, and you are expected, we as an auditor are expected to follow as per agreed scope. In the scope, I have agreed that I will give the report in this fashion. That is why I am giving it. So human resources, if you see delay ranging from 129 to 34 days noted in carrying a pre-employment medical check. Here, if you see that it is clearly giving, though it is not giving for the month or something that, because in the HR you don't have to be very specific about the month. So only in terms of revenue operations and expenses you give month. For in other departments, you classify the point in such a way that the important numbers are covered here and the rest can be left because it is an executive summary. Here, what is important? How many days? Because medical checkup has not been done, because when you don't do the medical examination done for the employment who are coming on the board, it might lead to a serious issue. You may come across patient with illness or maybe disease or something like that. So that is why I said that I have checked 8 cases. Out of 8 cases, in 4 cases I had an issue. And what is the issue? Medical checkup has not been done. That is also I have pointed here. And what is the issue? There was a delay. The minimum delay was 129 days and the maximum delay was 34 days. So I have categorized in the annexure as the top to bottom 324 days at the top. The line item will be without for all the four names of the employees will be there, and the delay will be there from maximum to lowest. So that is why I said the maximum number of delay is 324 and the minimum is 124 days. I have captured everything. I will show you example also. When you come to see the first point I said, what is the annexure one? And this is annexure number one. If you go to the point number one, so I will show you that. Before that, you see that all the after the HR, I have converted. There are 7 points, and then the reports are the first point capture as one, and the second one will be two, and the third one will be 3, 3.1, 3.2, like that. We are good, and holiday activity also there. After that, you can see some numbers after compliance SAP control, though it is not part of my scope. I have done this as work. I have reviewed the SAP controls in existence, the place. I have given the critical points because though it is, I am not required to give this point because I was not, this is not the part of the scope. I have given this till I have, that is why I have put it at the end. The reason is that these are all system oriented issue which needs specific attention from the IT side. Though this has to be taken up by the management and for the corrective action, otherwise it will land up in a very serious issue at a later date. That is why I have highlighted, I have done the system review of the SAP, and by sitting with the IT team and other operational team, and high critical points only, very critical points only I have highlighted for the corrective action out of my own interest. That is why I have not put it, though it is a critical, I have not put it at the top. I have put it at the top because it was not agreed as per the scope. I don't want to give which is not agreed as per my audit scope. However, I have done the audit. I want to highlight this issue. That is why I am keeping it at the end. So these are the content of first executive summary I have given. In the table of contents also I given A, B, C, D. Here previous observation is not there. That is why it is not, the page number will not be there here. And current year observation when it is starting and when it is closing. So page number 3 to 75 will be there. All annexes will be there from 75th page to 80th page. Audited, all the basic information are captured, and here the observation also captured. And the first point I say medical examination as well as said earlier, as per the SOP, this is the SOP number of the HOP, and then it has been done. This should be done, which my sample says. This has not been done in 4 out of cases. I will show you what are the 4. I will also tell you what is the 129, how the annexure has been written, and this annexure 1.1, I have given it as a 1.7. So, and next, although it is to be 1.2, I am not giving it as 1.2. I am giving exactly the observation number as a annexure reference also, so that it is easy to understand. In between 1.1 and 1.7 there won't be any annexures, so that is why I am not given in that. If the annexure 1.3 may not have annexure, so that is why I leave it. I have classified as exactly to match with my observation reference. So this what I have given 1.1, and everything, see, even if there are 8 points, the points will come as per the SOP reference. First point will carry one point reference number of 15. Next point, if you say, it will be it is will be in the ascending order. It will not be in the overlapping. So that in each department also, I have classified the observation in such a way that it will be as for the SOP reference, so that it is easy for them also to refer back the SOP in case they have got any doubt. That is why all points are classified as per the SOP number. And everything has been, if you see everything in the management comment, all points agreed will be followed, point noted, going forward will be taken. There will not be any line beyond this, one liner, agreed, check in the process to be classified. And everywhere there will not be, if at all there is agreement date, they will be putting it agreement date. Here it is put the agreement date also, chief engineer from July 15th it will be done, from with immediate effect. Everything will be there, only these 2 lines will be there. And when you go to the annexure, you can see 4 cases are there. What is the date of joining, when it has been done, what is the delay. So I have put it in the descending order so that I can capture what is the maximum delay here and what is the minimum delay here. So this is a summary. This report, fortunately, I think it has got about more than 80 pages or that. And in addition to that, I am also giving the management summary, highlighting only the very key top 5 points or 6 points captured in that, and I'm giving it to here. I am putting it in a slightly a different format, and I am putting it as say in the first category in the top left. I will putting is management summary and the observation form, and second one it is what is the impact, what is the way forward, and what is a very simple, precise manner to catch the attention of the senior people. This particular sheet is goes to the audit committee, where the people audit committee members will see. This has audit committee will not have more than two-page document because they don't have time to discuss. The time allotted for them itself is only about 15 minutes or something like that. They will not be able to discuss everything in detail. In addition to the report, wherever there is here, I have captured 5 6 points based on criteria. One is that process loss or the revenue loss or the people issue. So this is a process, this is a revenue loss 2.25 lakhs. So I have captured this in a management summary. Again, it is a replica of my observation point, and here it is a very single what is the way forward, what agreed. Here if you see auditing comments since implemented, nothing else will be there. Agreed since will be implemented. It has got only 4 5 points, that's it. And other one this is a management summary. In addition to that, I also give, and in addition to that, I capture as my part of my work paper what is the area I have covered, and what is the sample I have taken, and what is the month I have taken. Because what happens at a later date, you will have some issues. For this area you have reported this point, and what is the sample you have taken. I will say I have taken 1 month, I have taken 2 months. When I am taking multiple months, I will put the number of the months also. Suppose I am taking my sample is say 3 months, I will put the number of the name of the month also, July, August, and December, January. I will put this also, so that at any point of time, if the client wants anything, what is your sample size and all that, I will be able to show that document with the proof also. This is how we are done. I think I have covered everything, and I want to tell something also there, but I'm now running out of time. That is why I may not be able to tell you how the. And in case anybody has the doubt, I will leave my number also. You can call me anytime for any guidance. I'll be able to help you on the phone. I don't generally take the phone only when I am busy in a meeting or something like that. But definitely, I always have the habit of returning the call is at the nearest shortest possible time. So don't worry about that. Any help anyone wants, they are free to call me anytime. With this, I
So,
thank you very much for giving me an opportunity to explain whatever has been done in the last, say, probably 20 25 years, to share my views to the youngsters here, so that I hope it might be of some use to the people. Thank you very much.
so, Mr. Swami, thank you so much for a beautiful session. It was conducted in a very beautiful manner. Everything was explained in a very simple and a concise manner. I too really loved it. So, we'll talk about it more, but I will first go ahead and, I will share with you few of the participant questions. So, more than 300 participants, they participated in your session, and I am sure that all of them would had gone lot of gains out of it. Yeah, they would had understood how to create an audit report which has to be a clear, concise, in a logistic way, and we really liked whatever you spoke. So I'll go forward and read few questions for you, sir.
Yeah,
Yeah.
anytime.
Yes,
You
sir.
can.
Yeah, sir. So the first question has come from Prasan Prasuti, and he has written, while writing audit response, instead of starting with "we noted," "we observe," is it a good practice to say that the engagement team noted? If no, why?
Both are same. You can do it in either way.
Okay. So
See,
both of
we,
them are.
I am saying we because the audit has been allotted to the firm. That is why I am capturing we instead of the specific person.
Hmm.
So it should be addressed from the audit firm to the client. So that is why you can always say we. It is a, there is no hard and fast rule, but we will be a better way of doing it instead of saying I or something that, because that is why in the first page we are saying it as an audit firm name, everything. So when you say we, the first page itself is knows which company you are auditing, which company or which unit is audited, and which firm is doing the audit, and which period also we are doing the audit.
So I hope Prasanna has got an answer to his question. And then if Prasanna has asked the second question, if the auditee follows a specific format of audit report, which is not in line with our standard format, covering the aspects like what you mentioned, 5 C's, how to go for that? Should we follow the audit format or convince the auditee to use our standard format?
See, all any observation, it is easy for us before we write the observation. You split it into 5 C's. At that stage itself, we will know whether it is an observation, not an observation. If you are not meeting the 5 C's, then it is not qualified as a finding. It is not qualified as observation. Then there is no place in the report.
Okay, so then we
So
should be kind of asking the auditee to stick to our specific format, which covers 5C.
yes, all the report findings should be classified into 5 C's before it qualifies for an observation in the report. Because if something is missing, then you can always go back to that particular area, reclassify, reclarify yourself, and you are convince yourself that I have the 5 C's, then I am putting it as a report. That is why the 5 C's are important.
Okay, perfect.
And one more thing I forgot to say, that if there is a critical observation involving people issue or something like that, I would suggest that instead of putting it as a main report and attracting the everybody's people, you can put it as a management letter and restrict that circulation only to the people concerned, to the management, like your CEO or your CFO or MD, managing director, so that the main people who are involved for taking action, they are informed of it. They should be informed, but not in the form of a regular report, because regular report is seen by everybody. It is almost a public document for the company, so you don't have to, everybody need not know all the critical areas. The critical areas is meant only for the people who are taking action on that, so it is better to give that report only to the particular people concerned.
Yeah, really makes sense, sir. It really makes sense. Yeah.
But I don't prefer, because I had an issue when I corrected myself, because initially when I gave the report I had an issue, and then I
Mhm.
stopped it. Then I
All
have to
right.
withdraw my report and reissue a revised report
Yeah,
by
it
deleting that
will.
and putting it as a management letter.
Yeah, so that really makes sense because the audit report, which is going like a public document, in that particular thing, the few things which are most important for managerial people could be
Correct.
avoided and it could be given like a separate managerial letter. Yeah.
At the
Okay.
same time, you are conveying a point, and people are also, you are conveying to the point to the right people who are supposed to take an action. That is done.
Yeah.
Job is done.
Great. So, K. Ravinder has thanked you. Hi, sir. Really a wonderful explanation. Can we get a Word file for our future reference?
This Word file I may not be able to give because it is a client record. I purposely changed the name, but I will share the PPT with, that is not a problem, because this is a confidential for me, because this is a client record. I will not be able to share.
Correct. Makes sense. Okay. Then we have Charki Dadri, who is thank you for your wonderful session. And then Dr. Krishna Motiravas is asking you a question. Is it necessary to report appointment of internal auditors to statutory auditors in case of educational institution or trust? CA Dr. Krishna Ravas Pune. Okay. Yeah. So the question is typically, is it necessary to report the appointment of internal auditor to a statutory auditor in case of
No, but
educational
you
institute?
are, see, as per the scope, you are supposed to give the report only to the client. The
Mhm.
statutory auditors, while doing the audit, they will take the report from the client, not from you.
Okay. So in
You don't
that
have
case,
to, your restriction, you are liable to give report only to the client, not to anybody else.
okay, that makes sense. Then Sayali Thakur is asking, if in any area we don't have any observation, in that case, should we mention that in the report?
Not required unless and until it is asked for.
Okay. So as
Unless and
you
until
also
asked for.
said, yeah, as you also mentioned in your session that with Tata Group. Their processes were so good that for you it took a long time to commit any kind of observation or any kind of thing. So, sir, in those cases when the processes are really very good, does the internal auditor has to behave like a bloody hound, or he has to act like a watchdog and say, everything is very good, everything is great, and I am not liable to find any kind of error and fraud?
No, 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 no. That is what I said in the earlier also.
Hmm.
We are not here to prove our thing to others. We are doing based on what has been given to us to the work. We have verified some sample, and our sample will show this is the sample I have taken. I could not find any observation. It need not be reported. The report should contain only wherever there is an observation. If there is no observation, then you don't have to report it.
Yeah, great, sir. Sir, I have one question from you. This
Yes,
is my
yes.
question. Yeah. So, as you know, AI and everything is evolving with Chat GPT coming in place. What do you think, what role it will play when we have to draft internal audit report? And how much do you think, it would be authentic to use Chat GPT while we draft an internal audit report?
See, currently we are using a lot of audit tools also for the audit. Correct.
Yeah.
It really makes sense to use those kind of audit. You can see some of the audit tools are very good in the YouTube also. With artificial intelligence come, yes, it is of very great use also for us if we are able to use it in the internal audit report, because it really makes sense. But you should be very careful. My suggestion is you take the help of artificial intelligence or something like that. But before you start putting it officially in your report, you validate and then you put it in the report. That is my request, because artificial intelligence is general for everything. It may not be applicable for a specific area what you are doing it.
Yeah.
So we should ensure that it applies to that. Only when you are doubly careful, you can put it.
Yeah. So as you said, firstly we have to draft, then we have to edit, and then we have to submit the report. Yeah. So
Correct.
even if we are using the Chat GPT, we have to be careful even while creating the draft. And while we have
Better.
created the draft, we have to edit it very thoughtfully. And only after that we need to give the report. Sir, in my opinion, the Chat GPT, it is a great value add, but you can't rely on it 100%.
Correct.
Yeah.
That is what I'm saying. You take
Yeah.
the help from them and
Yeah.
use it when, unless you are comfortable, unless you are say yes, I can go again. You don't put it,
Yeah.
because
So
Chat
great.
GPT and artificial is a general thing. It may not be applicable to every case.
Yeah. All right. So great, sir. We are done with all the question answers, and I feel there are less question and answers because you explained everything so in such a nice way. Everything was very clear. As you said, the internal audit report should be made in a clear manner. Everything should be logical. So we could see that reflecting in your session also. Whatever you presented was very clear, concise. Everything was making a logical connection. Yeah. So internal audit teams, thank you for all the for this beautiful session. And we would also like to thank our technical support team, Mr. Arun, Preeti Savla, and everybody for arranging this session. So great.
Thank you very much. And
Thank
how
you, sir.
many, any idea on number of people were there in that people? I
So
could
there
not
are
see
more
that.
than yeah, so there are more than 300 plus people who have
Acha, acha.
participated in this session.
Acha, all of them are practicing.
So that is not clear to us as of now.
Okay.
But
Some people
yes,
in the
they
industry
are.
also.
Yeah, yeah. There would be a mix of both of them. So
Okay.
all of them would not be practicing chartered accountants. There would be a mix of both of them. But yeah, definitely they would be interested in internal audit report drafting thing, which we
Okay.
did. Yeah.
Thank you very
So
much. In case anybody has any doubt, they can call me anytime or you can leave my mail also. So I
yeah.
will leave my number. You can note down my numbers 93221
So technical team, can you flash that? The sir's phone number and sir's email ID. Is that possible? Can you flash it anywhere? That is not possible. So we
Okay.
can write that in the chat. I am putting that in a chat, which is going to everyone. Okay? Okay, we can't do that. Okay. So
Acha, acha,
doesn't
okay.
matter. Okay. So doesn't matter. What we will do is, sir, you can still repeat your phone number and your email
Anybody
ID.
is interested, anybody has got any doubt at any point of time with the audit details, they are free to call me anytime. 93, my name is Swaminathan, and you can note down my number as 932221
Mm-hmm.
06512.
Okay. And what's your email ID, sir?
Nathan. E for England, S for Singapore. Again, E for England, S for Singapore. NEATHAN 5 at gmail.com.
Yeah. Great, sir. Thank you so much, sir. And I'm sure, participants would get a record.
This is my personal email ID. So definitely you will get an answer when you can, because I look into my personal email also at least more than twice, thrice in a day. So definitely at the shortest possible time I will respond.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Let's close the session, technical team. Thank you,
Thank you.
everybody.
Thank you
Thanks,
very
sir.
much, everyone.
Yeah. Bye.